Too Close to Call is a sports talk radio show brought to you by Kevin Mahalik, featuring commentary on the week's biggest sports news and events and engaging behind-the-scenes player interviews. While specializing in Philadelphia sports, Too Close to Call will also discuss issues and events happening on a national scale. Too Close to Call airs Tuesday from 1 to 2 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m.
Aloha and hello out there, everybody. Let's go take a look at that. Oh, baby. If you're listening on the radio and you can't see the live YouTube, you better click over quick, baby. Oh, yeah, look at that. Do I look pretty? Yeah, sexy man, sexy man. What's going on, everybody out there? This is Kevin Mahalik, your host, as always, of Too Close to Call Sports here on Usula Media and Usula Radio. And for those of you saying, Kev, I can't switch over to YouTube. I'm just listening to you on the radio. What the heck are you doing there? Long story short, the press pass that we've been working on, that I've been talking to you guys about, that finally came in. It is official. We are live with the press pass, ladies and gentlemen. So moving forward, I'll be able to attend sporting events, here in Philadelphia as well as nationally, writing more articles for UsulaMedia.com. If you guys check out the website, you saw one of the first articles we wrote on Shayne Gostisbehere and the Philadelphia Flyers and whether or not they should move on from him. And we got some fantastic feedback here on Facebook that we're going to dive into a little bit later today on Too Close to Call Sports. But for right now, we're going to start out this first segment discussing some national news, some national headlines. We've had some updates since I spoke to you guys last week about certain things. And I know I said yesterday on the show, today would be mostly the Philadelphia Sports Hour, but the first segment here for about 10, 15, 20 minutes, we're going to be talking about everything else around America and what's going on. And first, we're going to start out in the city of Houston. And Houston, you guys have a problem. My God, it is just a crap show since the FCC's here on the radio and we can't use cuss words and whatnot. But just overall city of Houston, let me break this down for you here. The run that they've gone on in the last week and then extended back to, 4 to 6 months, whichever the exact timeline was. But first and foremost, we talked about it, the Houston Texans. They were up 24-0 on the Chiefs a few weeks ago and then get outscored 51-7 over the final 3 quarters to end up losing the game. And it's come out here, I believe it was right after that game or kind of during, maybe right before, but the other optic that doesn't look great if you're a Houston sports fan is the head coach Bill O'Brien yelling back at the fan as he was going into the locker room at halftime. Have you guys seen this out there? Do you know what I'm talking about? Well, if you haven't, basically, again, he's running into halftime. They're down 21-0 or 21-7 at this point. It was the first round of the playoffs. It was a home game where they came back and won the game against the Bills. That's who it was. It was the Buffalo Bills. But he's running into halftime. One fan yells at him, "Hey, you suck. These guys suck, blah, blah, blah." Basically just ragging him like anybody would here. I mean, in Philadelphia, honestly, it was probably light and very polite what this individual was saying to him at the time. But Bill O'Brien took exception. He went in the huddle or down the tunnel, kind of stopped, turned around, was like, "You know what? You suck. F you, F this, F that." And basically, it was one, you're watching this, you have a couple different reactions. One is, the mainstream, the professional reaction of, "You can't be doing this, man. You're the head coach of the Texans. You can't engage in fans. You can't be yelling back. You can't do this type of stuff." And then there's the additional secondary reaction of, "Dude, your argument back to this fan was hilarious." Basically, like I said, the fan goes, "Hey, you suck." And he, instead of going like, "No, I don't," or coming up with something totally different, he goes, "You know what? You suck too." Basically admitting, one, that he does indeed suck, and two, you can't come up with a better comeback than a third grader or my niece or nephew coming back, "Hey, you suck. You know what? You suck. No, you suck. No, you suck." Like, come on, man. What are we doing? Just childish on multiple levels. So not a good look for O'Brien. But then come to think of it, and listening to, some local radio shows down there to try to get the 411, I forgot he's the general manager as well. They can the GM after the draft and after free agency, and they just let Bill O'Brien run the show, and all the locals down there are pissed about it because the guy's an a-hole. They're just to the fans, to the media, to everybody. He's a little bit of an a-hole, certainly not a Doug Peterson when it comes to the press conference and engaging in questions, this, that, and the third, but he's ultimately making the roster decisions. He's got the coaching decisions, so who's going to fire him? He's not going to fire himself. The GM fires the coach typically, so unless the owner steps in, my man Bill O'Brien's going to be a winner out of this whole thing, even after a circus that he's put the Texans through the past couple of weeks. But they're into the offseason. They're trying to move forward. It was just live going, oh, man, that sucks. And then crossing over, discussing, we'll leave baseball last. We'll talk about the Houston Rockets. And within the last week or 2 weeks that they're discussing, they went 0-3 with 2 losses to teams below 500. And it says here, and one of the teams was missing its second best player. So recently the Rockets haven't been playing good basketball, are kind of fading in the Western Conference. And then if you zoom out a little bit, kind of give more of a timeline, you realize that it was maybe 4 or 6 months ago that the GM of the Rockets, Daryl Morey, was basically the one that put the NBA versus China on the map. He was the one that came out and I believe spoke of the pro-China protests that's going on over there in regards to, open media, talking crap on the establishment, whatever the heck, whatever words you guys want to use to describe it. You get it out there. You know what I'm talking about. But basically, all the other owners have to be extremely pissed at this guy because China went to the commissioner, Adam Silver, said we want him fired. Silver said no. They basically put him on a talking gag, a restraining order. He wasn't allowed to talk, tweet, communicate, do any other interviews. And China basically boycotted the NBA. They had a few games over there, a few teams over there, and they didn't want anything to do with it. Boycotted the NBA. I haven't heard a lot recently in regards to kind of where we stand exactly on that. But here we are again, the city of Houston. Just putting another circus on the map, come basketball. And then the baseball team, they must have obviously been, feeling left out, so to speak, because they have the biggest scandal of them all. And we touched on it last week. If you guys didn't hear that episode, the long short of it is basically the Astros are cheaters, quote unquote. They used the live feed, live technology to distinguish what pitches were coming and then relayed that information to the hitters so the hitters knew what pitch was coming. Ultimately, obviously, can be more successful. And the legs that are growing off of this scandal as the spider web, so to speak, continues to expand is the recent allegations of a few individuals, specifically, I believe the names Jose Altuve, Alex Bregman, Carlos Beltran. They've been accused of using buzzers under their jerseys that, hey, off-speed pitch, buzz, buzz, buzz. Okay, I got it, no problem. Because you don't even need to know location. As long as you know speed, that's the timing aspect of hitting. And timing is everything when it comes to hitting. That's changeup, slider, fastball. That's why people, make them get out, basically. It's because their timing is off and they don't recognize the pitch. So if you know what's coming, obviously that's literally the name of the game. And I'm going to be honest with you folks out there. When this first came out, I was a little bit on the side of what's the big deal? People have been stealing signs since baseball originated. Like, it's literally part of baseball 101. Yeah, I mean, if you played even high school baseball, you had those 2 or 3 guys kind of sitting at the end of the dugout, looking into the other dugout, trying to decode, the pitching sequence, nose, ear, hat, whatever the heck it is at that level. Obviously, it's more complicated as you go higher in level, but even at the high school age, you're trying to figure out what pitch is coming. So the fine line, or I guess not the fine line, but the line that they crossed is using live technology and live media to relay this information. If it's a matter of the pitcher turning his glove a certain way, tipping pitches, or if it's a matter of, the second baseman standing in a certain area when it's off speed compared to fastballs, that's been there since the history of baseball. So this is nothing new. But the year 2020 is obviously what complicates things because the ability to use live technology or relay such information wasn't even an option until 5 years ago. Hell, even 10 years ago when I was playing ball, that wasn't an option and that wasn't available. So just for them to use the options and availability, it made sense that somebody was eventually going to try this. Now, the whistleblowers have come out. Again, the Red Sox manager is fired. The Mets manager is fired. Houston doesn't have a GM or a coach. Well, that's 2 Houston programs without a GM, and we touched on the third one, basically got us into an international warfare when it comes to sports. So if you're a general manager looking for a job, you may want to head to the city of Houston to submit your application. I heard they have a few openings and a few available options for you out there. But as I was discussing this with, other former players, other current players, and kind of understanding why all the backlash and what exactly is happening, and the long short of it is, I forget who tweeted this out. It was a guy for the Dodgers. What the heck's his name? Rich Allen, I think, the pitcher, basically said, I would rather face a guy on steroids than a guy that knew what was coming. And I understand that on the major league level. The only thought that happens through my head is with steroids and those of options, they happen at the lower levels. They happen in college, they happen in the minors, even in high school in some instances, in order to get recruited or to be drafted or to make the major leagues. And it gets back to my original point that this type of technology or availability isn't available in a lot of the minor league stadiums or minor league programs. So these players got themselves drafted, got themselves to the show without help of an outside substance or an outside entity that was, improving their play, so to speak. So from my eyes, I'm going, okay, well, they made it on their own. And yeah, now he had an MVP. Jose Altuve had an MVP season. They won the World Series. Yes, I understand this helped them do that. So should the title be vacated, I guess, is a quality conversation. But to, ban these players for life or to do that when basically a steroid suspension is 80 games, that's the part that I just don't understand. And I'm in the minority with this. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm probably pissing a lot of people off watching this or listening to this going, dude, you're so wrong. You don't get it. You don't understand. And that's where I'm saying, listen, I played in that world. I played D1 baseball. I had, potential to play minor league baseball. And my biggest qualm was those dudes who, juiced or took the roids to get to that next level. If you're at that level and then you cheat to get to, you're at the highest level, maybe to perform well and get paid, sure. But they got to the show on their own. So I have trouble going the full, ban them, get them the hell out of here. Sure, suspend them for a year. Go full Alex Rodriguez when he got his second or third bang. Not Bioptic. What the hell was it? I forget. Down in Florida, there's a documentary on Netflix that talks about Biogenesis. I believe that's what it was. That's what it's called. Suspend them for a year. Okay, take their pay. That's cool. But again, you can't just ban them for life for using technology. I don't know. It's a tricky subject. Honestly, I want to hear from you guys out there. The next segment, we're going to have a lot of feedback conversation into some articles I wrote, so maybe I'll write one there and get your guys' feedback. But please comment, please rate, review. Let me know where you stand. Should they be banned for life? As well as during the initial investigation, there was no evidence of the buzzer, of the direct certain players buzzing. Yes, there was the trash can and the bangs, but that's not every pitch. That's not every batter. It's loud in there at times. You can't hear a goddamn trash can in the dugout in the playoffs, so hence the buzzer. But they didn't find anything. And they did the most thorough investigation in Major League history. So I got to believe them at their word, saying they weren't using a buzzer. We'll find out this year, this, that, and the third. So certainly a storyline to keep our eyes on. We seem to be slowing down when it comes to, breaking news, new reports, things along those lines. But once again, a fascinating conversation. In the city of Houston, no manager, no GM in football, crappy coach everybody hates in football, meddling basketball team. Just, oh man, if you're a Houston fan right now, I feel bad for you. It feels like Philadelphia 3 or 4 years ago when everybody was, the worst in the league and pretty much sucking on a regular basis. But, one quick stat I wanted to jump in here. It really doesn't, it's not relevant to anything except for sucking at sports. And that is the city of Detroit. We're going to let Houston go here for 1 minute. We're going to talk about the city of Detroit, who set the record for the most losses for any city in one calendar year. In the year 2019, Detroit lost a total of 226 games between the four teams. The Detroit Tigers were the worst in the MLB. They lost, I believe, 100 games, over 100 games. The Red Wings finished last. They probably had 40 losses. Lions went 3-12, and the Pistons were right around kind of 500 over the course of 2 different years. So 226 losses between the four of them. My God. If you're a Detroit fan of sports, I'm sorry. If you're a Houston fan, more specifically over the past 4 to 6 months, we feel for you here. We feel for you. But transitioning on that path on the baseball baseball conversation. Today is the Hall of Fame voting. Well, I guess they're releasing the results today. They've voted over the course of the last couple of weeks or a month or so. But basically this year is different than years past because not a lot of names are expected to ultimately, gain access to the Hall of Fame. The only lock this year is Derek Jeter. And obviously, you Yankees fans listen out there. Hell, even you baseball fans know all about Jeter. And the conversation around Jeter is not whether or not he's going to get in. It's whether or not he's going to be unanimous. And the closest 5 there have ever been, and every single one of them should have been unanimous, and the person or persons that did not vote for these individuals should have been stripped of their honor a long, long time ago. But last year, it finally happened. Mariano Rivera was the first ever to get 100% of the vote. And basically, if you didn't vote for him, you're done. You're gone. Like, come on. What are we doing here? The best closer of all time. He's got like a 1 ERA. We discussed his stats in length on the podcast feed if you want to go back and listen to him. His playoff stats are literally Hall of Fame in their own right. Like, if he didn't do anything in the regular season, just pitched in the playoffs, Hall of Famer. If he didn't pitch in the playoffs, just in the regular season, Hall of Famer. Both of them combined, 2 different Hall of Famers. The guy should have 2 plaques, one for the regular season, one for the playoffs. It's insane, his numbers and his splits there. But the next 4 all should have been unanimous. Not even a question. Not even a question. Nolan Ryan, Ken Griffey Jr., Tom Seaver, Cal Ripken Jr. What are we doing here? 99, 98, 98, 98. Come on, those 2 people that didn't vote for Cal Ripken Jr., you can get out, baby. What are you doing? That is just, you're embarrassing. You're an embarrassing to humans. Not to sports, not to journalism, not to whatever, to all the human race. You, sir or ma'am, are an embarrassment, and you should be ashamed. So I'm not saying vote for Derek Jeter, though. I'm on the fence if he's 100% or not, but that's just because I'm anti-Yankee. So he's most likely going to be unanimous, and it just sucks. 2 unanimous guys, Rivera and Jeter, on those 90s Yankees teams. Just, but moving on, the next couple of individuals, Larry Walker, the old Colorado Rockies. He's in his 10th and final year on the ballot. He's polling at 85% of public ballots. You got to make 75% in order to gain to the Hall of Fame. And he had a big jump last year. He actually went from 34 to 54, so 20.5. And if he gets 20.5 again, he'd be at 75.1. So, people basically look at it and they go, not this year, not this year. And now that he's going to disappear, they go, oh, well, I guess I should vote for him. It's a shame how that happens. And it's not, based on really what he's done. It's just a matter of, well, he's fallen off. We should probably get him in there. But the next couple individuals, they get back to the steroid conversation that we had. Whether you're pro-steroids, anti-steroid, not Hall of Fame, their own special wing within the Hall of Fame. Hey, this hallway is the steroid hallway. When the 90s, we allowed it, and everybody did it. We can't just not have anybody make it in the 90s because they were all juiced. And, this next guy, I don't think he ever got caught for juicing. He's just more of an a-hole. But Curt Schilling, he's on the bubble, moving up there. More specifically, the roids guys I was talking to, Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, they continue to climb. They're in year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Both of them are up over 59. They seem to climb 5 to 10 points a year. So put them 65, probably their last year, like Larry Walker, may get in right around 75, because the further we get out from the steroid era and the more turnover that happens in the media world, the less 80-year-old white guy and more kids my age getting into media, getting into journalism. We don't give a crap, man. He was the best baseball player we've ever seen. Okay, he hit 750 home runs on steroids. Maybe he would have hit 560, not on steroids. But we watched the game, and we saw these people be the best at the sport at their time. I mean, Roger Clemens, over the course of almost 20 years, is insane. Nobody can even do that, now over 5-10 years. So let these guys in. That's where I stand. If you want to put an asterisk, make the plaque a slightly different color, I don't know. Come up with something, but let them in, man. Let's stop doing this. I'm curious to see tonight at 6 o'clock when the results are released, where exactly these guys end up. I bet they continue to climb. So, but truly, my guess, Derek Jeter's a lock, 99, 100%. Larry Walker, I bet, gets in just barely, like 76, 75, either that or just misses at like 73, 74. So if you're in the Walker family, walking on pins and needles here in the next couple of days, but I'm rooting for you, so we'll see how it goes. But really, that's it. It's only going to be 1-2 guys unless something comes out of left field really out of nowhere. But wrapping up this first segment, 5 minutes here on Phillies Talk. Real briefly, nothing new to report. Just want to give y'all an update. It's January 21st today. Pitchers and catchers report February 12th. So we're almost at 3 weeks here. Pretty crazy. Baseball will be back in 3 weeks. The storylines to keep an eye on. JT Realmuto, the Phillies all-star stud catcher. He's going to arbitration against the Phillies. And arbitration, basically, it's not a good look when you go there for a certain player. But in this instance, it's actually okay due to the position and what he's fighting for. But JT, basically what happens is, hey, the Phillies say you're worth $10 million. JT says I'm worth $12.5. They can't come to an agreement. They go in front of a court, an arbitrator. The Phillies say, hey, he gets $10 million because he sucks at hitting off speed. He can't do this. He's a horrible person, this, that, and the third. It's not that bad, but like it's bad. They tell you why you shouldn't get paid. And then JT comes up on the other side saying, hey, I'm great. I deserve this. You guys suck, this, that, and the third. You'd be here without me. Pay me my money. And the reason this one's okay in this specific instance is because JT is setting the market for catchers moving forward. He's the best catcher in all of baseball. So if he takes less money than he feels like he's obligated for, that means the next best catcher in all of baseball won't get as much as he wants. So he's basically doing this for the position and not so much himself. And both parties are taking a good look at that and they understand what's going on. So there shouldn't be any real, finger blowing, flipping people off, cussing at each other, because things can get nasty and some relationships can never be repaired because they basically say you suck. And then you walk out of there going, well, now I know how they actually feel about me. They tell me all these good things, but behind the scenes, they think I suck. Damn, okay, screw you guys, that type of thing. So keep an eye out on that moving forward. That's the last kind of wrinkle. Obviously, names of Chris Bryant, Nolan Arenado, third baseman, continue to be chitter-chattered around when it comes to trade talk. But until it happens, I don't think it's going to, specifically with the Phillies. They may get moved, but I don't think it's going to be Philadelphia. So that's really it for the main moves in the offseason. We'll see what we get here come pitchers and catchers in 3 weeks. But overall, that wraps up the first segment here at Too Close to Call Sports, USLA Media, USLA Radio. I'm your host, Kevin Mahalik. As always, if you're watching on YouTube, I appreciate you guys watching. Head over to the social medias, Facebook, Instagram, all of the above. Like, rate, review the pod. Review the Too Close to Call Sports page, USLA Media. Help share. We appreciate you guys spreading the word. But we'll pause right now. Brief word from one of our sponsors, and we'll come back on the second segment. We're going to be talking hockey. We're going to be talking puck. Philadelphia Flyers. Got a bunch of feedback online from you guys about a controversial topic moving on the ice. So hang around for just a brief moment. We'll catch you guys on the other side.
New Year's resolutions are hard, but the Xfinity New Year, New Gig sale is easy. Waking up the kids after a long winter break? Hard. But getting gig speed internet so you can stream, surf, and game all at once? Easy. Committing to a trendy New Year's diet? Hard. But finding your favorites on Xfinity X1, the easiest all-in-one entertainment experience, just by speaking into the X1 voice remote? Easy. It's the Xfinity New Year, New Gig sale, and it's simple, easy, awesome. To learn more, go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas.
Ooh, baby, welcome back. USLA Media, USLA Radio. I'm your host, Kevin Mahalik, Too Close to Call Sports. Do I look better in real life or on the picture? What do you guys think out there, huh? What do you think? Swiping right or swiping left? What do you got, huh? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter because we got it, baby. Press Pass Access. Oh, goodness gracious. Welcome back. I appreciate you guys. It's just about 1:25 Tuesday, January 21st. 3 weeks into January. 3 weeks into 2020. 49 more to go, ladies and gentlemen. Holy moly, life moves fast. Keep moving forward, keep trucking, keep pushing. Things are going to improve. If you'd have told me 6 months ago when I decided to chase my passion, do my thing, that I'd be getting one of these guys, I'd have signed up right that second. That's awesome. Love everything USLA is doing here for all of us personalities on the radio. We appreciate it, and we appreciate you guys listening out there because we're doing it for you. The traffic, everything going great. Going to keep the articles going, moving forward. And that's a great transition into this segment here because one of the recent articles I wrote, we posted on USLAmedia.com. If you haven't read there yet, head on over, check it out. Basically discussing the Philadelphia Flyers and whether or not they should be trading Shayne Gostisbehere, or Ghost, quote unquote, his nickname is. He's an enigma, man. And in the article, just a brief summary, bringing it up here. His first year, electric. Just unbelievable out of college. Basically carried them to the playoffs, set a rookie point streak. Second year, not so good. A little bit of down year, what they like to call the old sophomore slump. For everybody out there who follows sports, basically means you come up rookie year, you do your thing, then there's an off season. People around the league finally have tape, film, everything on you. They adjust to what you do well. You have to adjust to the adjustment to figure it out. Hang around. He wasn't able to do it. His second year really struggled, then made the adjustments. Third year, pretty good. Fourth year, not so good again. Fifth year this year, even worse than the fourth and second year. So not good. Career low in points. And it's starting to get on that fine line of if they should move on from him, because at this point now the kids are finally here behind him. They finally have depth and options at the blue line, and they have the ability to move on from him if they would like. The problem is that when Ghost is on and he is hot and locked in, he's a top defenseman in the NHL. One of the years he finished in top 10 in the Norris Trophy voting, which goes to the league's top defenseman. So top 10 in the entire league. He was voted, and then the next year he just sucks. It's so frustrating to watch, and that's where, as a fan, that's where the angst grows. That's where, get this guy out of here. He's pissing me off. That's where that comes from, is the inconsistency, and we just want to see him continue to develop, because if he developed and improved on where he was, he'd be outstanding. He'd be a top defenseman, and it just hasn't happened. So, naturally, the next question is, will it happen? And when it will happen, if it will happen, when will it happen? Is it now? Is it too soon? Or have we seen the best of Ghost and we should, move now, even though we think value's low? It's only going to get worse. He's only getting older. He's only been injured a few more times, this, that, and the third. But we're going to dive into you guys, the listeners, the fans, some feedback we got out here on Facebook and the Instagram. So if you want to be read here on Usula Media, head over there, post some comments on the articles, get yourself on the show. So we'll start with my man Dan Shaw. What's going on, Dan? Dan's personal thoughts are that at best, Ghost is a poor man's Mike Green. Mike Green's a defenseman for the Capitals. Recently won the title down there. Green exiled himself to Detroit. There you go. He's now in Detroit, not in Washington anymore. And is basically a non-factor in the league. Ghost was worse defensive skills than Green, and his offensive skills have eroded. So with Pro V playing better, Sanheim pitching in a bit, York looming in the minors. He was their first-round pick this past year. You'll probably see him in a year or two. He's actually at the University of Michigan right now. And good in the minors. He is a defensive liability with fading offensive skills. Is Ghost still needed? That's the question, Dan. That's what I'm asking you to answer, bro. No, Dan. So basically at the end of my article, I said no. I said I think they should move him. Obviously, he's injured right now. He's off of surgery. He's not playing. They do have a week off here after tonight's game for the All-Star break. Word is he will be back at the end of the month. And with the trade deadline coming up on the 24th, that gives them about 3 weeks to decide whether A, he can show he's healthy, B, he can show he doesn't suck coming off the injury, or C, he lights it up and we keep him when we got a hell of a defender. So not a lot of bad options for the Flyers out there. But Joel Rose, Joel Rose, the Montreal scenario seems like the best opportunity to me, although I have admittedly coveted Drouin since the Tampa debacle. So I wrote in the article 3 options. I think it was Detroit, Montreal, and I can't remember the third one. You guys will have to check it out to read it. But I talked about Drouin in Tampa, who's now somewhere else. They could add him because they're going to look to add offense if they make a move here and trade Ghost. That's not going to be for a fellow defenseman. They're going to want to get younger, faster up front, in the forward position. So that's most likely the move. The only part is the salary cap we talked about, and they got to make the money work because the Flyers are close to the cap, so they are a little bit hamstrung when it comes to options. But there are availabilities out there that align with what they need financially as well as on the ice. But Christopher Carnes, C-A-I-R-N, sorry if I messed that one up, Chris. But to summarize, yes, he's not scoring and he's a small dude, so what value is he adding to the blue line? It would be great to trade him for some veteran presence, basically someone like Braun who's better. Now, Chris, this is where I disagree. Again, if they move Ghost, it's not going to be for a fellow defenseman. They just got Niskanen and Braun to be those, Braun specifically, stay-at-home, bigger-bodied, burly defenseman. You got the kids. You got Robert Hagg, who's kind of a 6'7", who can fill that role. Then you got guys like Myers, Sanheim, Provy, who are more of the moving offensive defenseman. Niskanen's kind of in both worlds there. So Ghost is really only the offensive defenseman, struggles defensively, and when he doesn't give you value offensively, basically, it comes down to that he's not great on the blue line. So that's what it comes to. So Chris thinks they should move him for some help on the blue line. I just personally don't see that. I don't think it's going to be a D for D guy because they'll just keep the young guy with some upside if that was the case. But Kurt Wood says he is hurt. Thank you, Kurt. We know that. Good luck dealing him at the deadline. Thank you, Kurt, for your luck wishes. I appreciate that. We are going to have some good luck. Delmo Gotti should have traded him when he was healthy. Yeah, that's the bear of hockey, man. He gets hurt right as this is starting to pick up. Hopefully he's back in time, like we said, before the deadline, and they're able to move him. But if not, they got to sit on him for the rest of the year, move him in the offseason. Certainly an option as well. I'm not saying it's move him by February or never. I'm just saying that's the next kind of unofficial deadline that would pass. But Tony Santos, trade him, but keep his pugs. They are cool. He's referencing the dogs. If you guys watch the Inside the Flyers training camp edition, you got a little bit of an insight into his house, what's going on, and he showed you his pugs. And if you're into pugs, he's with you there. Ghost got you. So, John Gaffney, trade him now while he's still in that window of quote-unquote needs a scenery change. I don't care about his offensive potential. He's weak in the defensive zone, and no amount of goals will make up for that for me. So, John, I hear you. John's a defensive guy. Obviously likes the defenders who are kind of more, it's so stupid saying defense all the time, that are more defensive-minded, like to play that side of the ice compared to really drive and play, getting involved in the forecheck, things like that. But Nick Woods, I'd like to see him cut loose to rove and wander, but don't know if now's the time for that. And Nick, that's kind of a point a lot of people have been making, and this one's even more controversial than maybe should they trade him, is should they move him to forward? Should they take the defenseman who has a lot of offensive skills, maybe struggles defensively, move him out of that position into a forward position? And there are mixed reviews all across social media. And if you scroll down, let's see here. Here we go. John C., move him to forward. Dan replies, forward's go in the corner, John. John responds, yes, but what do they have to lose? It's worth a try. I believe he's more suited to be offense as opposed to defense. And then, like I said, there's a big thread here between John and Dan going back and forth. Look at it this way. This is a one-round playoff team. Some nights they can put the puck in the net. Other nights they can't put it in the Atlantic Ocean. If everything's possible, they're a middle-of-the-pack team for years to come. Turn over every stone. They play well against top-tier teams, then crap to bed against teams like the Habs. They need the player the other team's feared. TK isn't that guy, this, that, and a third. And basically, Brett comes in. I'm so sick of this move him to forward nonsense. It's ridiculous. And another person says, so Hextall, Vigneault, Fletcher, Holmgren, and Berube, guys who have made a living as hockey experts must all be armchair fans too, since they haven't moved him to forward. Basically referencing three different regimes that did not move this guy to forward. Well, not a lot of them had a 5-year window of statistics and opportunities to look at and information to go on to say, hey, it's now been long enough. This may be a now or never type of opportunity for them. But like I said, 15 comments just on moving him to forward as like a little sub-thread there on social media. So maybe that'll be the follow-up conversation I have with you guys. Moving him to forward, what are your thoughts? What do you think? But Janice DeMillo Ciaella says, no! Exclamation point. She's a Ghost fan, doesn't want him to be moved. Carl Hess says, absolutely not. Let's get rid of Myers. He's awful. Always out of position. Another Andrew McDonald. A couple of responses there from Warren and Garrett saying, you're crazy, man. Myers is one of his favorites. Myers leads in plus minus. Do you even watch the Flyers? Yes, get him, Warren. He also plays the least amount of time aside from Friedman. What is it? -4 the other night versus Boston. The kid's 22, 51 games, 30, +8 this year. Or excuse me, +13 this year, +8 career. So they're going back and forth whether or not they should move Myers. And you shouldn't move Myers. You got to move Ghost, not Myers. Myers has been fantastic. That's what Walter says. Trade Myers, crying face. Yeah, let's trade a 6'5", smooth skating D-man in his first year. Good thing you're not the GM. So Walter not taking too kindly there to Carl's post a few times ago. So Alex Jones thinks he should be moved. Joshua Gosler disagrees. Matthew McHugh, he says yes. Randy says, yep, Friedman actually looked better than Ghost at this point. He's a little girl out there and provides no offense anymore, which is the only reason he's on the ice. Hopefully they can pull it off. So I wouldn't go as far as saying Ghost is a wee little girl out there. Oh, he played like a little girl, but he's right. He doesn't kind of do the nitty-gritty. He doesn't hit you. He doesn't do the corners. He's not an ugly style of hockey player. He's a finesse guy. He's a pretty guy. He's an offensive guy. So if you're looking for somebody who's a little bit nasty, it's definitely not going to be Shayne Gostisbehere. And then Brett Thomas. Brett, I believe Brett has a little bit of sarcasm in this post here. You know, you can't always dictate sarcasm through text, but I think I'm reading it this way when he says it's always a good idea to trade a guy who has been slumping, probably playing injured and out now due to surgery. The most successful franchises in sports always sell low and buy high. Well, I'm going to like that for you, Brett, because that's the truth, isn't it? Good for you, Brett. Way to use sarcasm through an entity or an outlet in which you cannot portray sarcasm. Well done there, Brett. Just unbelievable. People out there, I don't understand social media sometimes. Like, just say what you mean. Why you got to be so passive-aggressive? Brett, I'm sure whoever you're dating or seeing, if anybody this time, loves those notes on the refrigerator that say the sink was dirty last night. I don't know who it was, but it wasn't me. Smiley face. So yeah, I'm sure whoever that is enjoys your sense of humor, if that's what we're going for, Brett. But I do appreciate the post, so stick with us. Nick Stout, yes please, wants him gone. Jeremy Fink, he shouldn't be a defenseman, he should be a forward or a power play guy. Jeremy should have been up in that other thread up there, my man. You could have been throwing some zingers with the other guys here. But Danielle Boucher, Bobby Boucher, what are they, Mississippi Mud Dogs? Bobby Boucher, Daniel Boucher says, yes! Get him out of here. Yes! Amanda gets, Ghost will likely be a deadline trade. Thanks, Amanda. The deadline's only, Jesus, unbelievable. It's now to the deadline, of course. Okay, I take that back. Amanda, you're probably saying not this offseason. You're probably saying now. So I forgive you. But a little bit of a post here, Amanda. Let's go through it. Let's see. Big Ghost fan. Well, hate to see it, but my gut has been saying it since the summer. As far as this season and last season, it's entirely months' worth of paychecks. He got an exhibition game in 2018. So basically, she's saying she thinks this injury he's just getting surgery for happened in late in 2018. Hence the reason last year was a struggle and this year was a struggle because he's been trying to play hurt and didn't want to get the surgery to become 100%. By the beginning of next season, he'll bounce back to his prime. Every single person in here saying trade him will be complaining about trading someone to excel elsewhere. I like him and want to see him successful. He'll probably do better outside of the toxicity that is Philly sports fandom because some of you are way off your blank rockers. Amanda, get him! What is that, How High? Where he's like, get him! Get him! So get in there, Amanda. Let them know how you feel. You and Brett should get together, have a conversation. That'd be excellent. But Richard Piccioni, he's been saying this for years. Yeah, Rich, I've been hearing you for years, man. I mean, I'm with you for years. Crazy. You're ahead of the time. You're such a smart guy, Rich. It's unbelievable. You don't get the credit you deserve. So Patrick Wetzel, heck no. Underneath him, George says no! Exclamation point. John Tricky, if we trade him, there's no doubt he'll win the cup with the team he goes to, just like Shen and many more. And yeah, that is the fear, because that has happened. Kimo Timonen, Braden Shen, everybody we trade just goes somewhere else and gets better. And the last one here, John Cap. No, we trade guys and they become better. So basically, overall, it truly is kind of right down the middle there. I mean, I didn't keep track of all the yeses or all the nos there, but certainly based on the feedback, kind of the feel there for the last 15 minutes or so, it seems as if this is right down the middle, man. It's a tricky situation. And like I wrote in the article, it's really the first example that Vigneault and Fletcher are going to have, or first decision to make, that's really going to have an effect over the next 2, 3, 4 years on this team. You know, whether Ghost is around and excels, he's around, he sucks, or they trade him. Either way, there's going to be changes or ripple effects that could have, should have, would have been. So certainly keep an eye on that here over the next 3 weeks. But Wrapping up this segment on the Flyers, like I mentioned, they have the All-Star break coming up. Travis Konechny, the only All-Star. They have one last game before the break tonight at 7:30 against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And please, Flyers, please, do not get your asses kicked 7-1 again, okay? It's the Penguins, all right? It's like the one team we can't stand around here. Show up tonight. Play some hockey, would you? Okay, it's at home. You guys like playing at home. You like getting your, your lunch wherever the hell you get it at home that you can't find on the road. Maybe it's Wawa. Maybe everybody goes to Wawa, and that's why they suck on the road because they're only regional here and they can't get it anywhere else. I don't know, but all I'm saying is 7-1. I got friends in Pittsburgh, man. I got Penguin friends fan. I mean, I got friends who are Penguins fans. Is what I'm trying to say as I'm muddling through here. But long short of it is, do not lay an egg tonight. If you lose, okay, that's allowed. I get it. The Penguins don't suck. Actually, they're better than us. So it would be an upset. But 7-1? Are you kidding me? If you guys show up tonight and lose 7-1, I'll tell you, I'm going to go in there with my press pass, and it's not going to be pretty, okay? I don't know what that means. But I'm going to be talking to Coach, going, hey, Coach, 7-1 twice? WTF, man. And then that's when they'll escort me out of the press conference. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, a big one against the Penguins tonight. About 10 days off, then they get the Penguins again in Pittsburgh, Friday the 31st, and then they come home for a brief stretch there. But 26-17-6, currently just outside the playoffs looking in. Couple of question marks to behold, home road splits, a lot to look forward to, but the Flyers are entertaining. They're fun to watch again. This new regime, this new style, Carter Hart, the goalies, all of the above. Heck of a lot of fun to watch. So if you're not out there watching hockey, watching the puck, turn it on tonight at 7:30. It'll be a good one to check out. And look for more articles moving forward. Sixers, Flyers, Phillies, we'll get them going. I want you guys' feedback, kind of like this past segment. I love doing this. If you guys want to be heard, comment. I'll read it. You can review, watch, listen, do all the above. We'll have ourselves a good time. But for right now, we'll pause one more time from a word from our station identification. No, word of our sponsors. You'll hear us on the flip side, third and final segment. Kevin Mahalik, Too Close to Call Sports. We'll see you in a minute.
New Year's resolutions are hard, but the Xfinity New Year, New Gig sale is easy. Waking up the kids after a long winter break? Hard. But getting gig speed internet so you can stream, surf, and game all at once? Easy. Committing to a trendy New Year's diet? Hard. But finding your favorites on Xfinity X1, the easiest all-in-one entertainment experience, just by speaking into the X1 voice remote? Easy. It's the Xfinity New Year, New Gig sale, and it's simple, easy, awesome. To learn more, go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Not available in all areas.
And we're jamming here on Too Close to Call Sports, Usala Media and Usala Radio. We're having ourselves a mighty fine time. Third and final segment here. We're talking Philadelphia 76ers and where to start. I know. You know. Ben Simmons, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking Ben Simmons. And now you're thinking to yourself, Kev, I know what we're going to discuss. Eastern Conference Player of the Week. Just had a career high in points, triple-double yesterday. Nope. No. See, I'm one step ahead of you guys here. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the biggest news of the weekend. Kendall Jenner was seen with Ben Simmons again. Woohoo! Let's go! Ben's back with the Kardashian! Woohoo! Oh, I hate it. I hate every single minute of it. Oh my God, it's so terrible. Now we have to put up with this and her at the games and on the sideline and ESPN showing her. And no disrespect to Kendall. Kendall's probably one of the better Kardashians when it comes to all of them, to be completely honest with you. But I just laughed because they were seen in New York City once again this past weekend after spending New Year's together. Oh, man. Maybe I should work for TMZ with what I'm giving you guys here. But basically, what I'm saying is Ben gets back with Kendall. That's New Year's. That's 3 weeks ago. Puts together some really good basketball. Eastern Conference Player of the Week. Big game, triple-double. I don't know. Just saying. Maybe things are good again here in the Simmons household, having himself a mighty fine time with Kendall Jenner. I don't know. But in all seriousness, no, it really is. Ben's been playing his best basketball of the past couple of years. A lot of it, depending on which way you want to go. If you want to go Kendall Jenner, like myself, saying, hey, that's the reason. A lot of you guys, I'm sure, are saying it's because Joel Embiid isn't in the lineup anymore, and I can understand that. But basically, what I want to talk about Ben Simmons is in greater scope of the Sixers is the continued evolution, the continued issue or evidence that Simmons and Embiid struggle to coincide together on the floor at the same time. Because I was discussing with some fans, some interaction once again out there, and basically one gentleman was talking to me. He made some good points, and we came to the conclusion that Simmons is a point guard who doesn't like to shoot the ball. As we've seen, he's got 2, 3 three-pointers, whatever, 20 in 3 years. James Harden yesterday went 1 for 17. Can we talk about that? 1 for 17? Ben Simmons is afraid to shoot like 2 of them. Like, just show him the film. Be like, bro, it's one game. Just shoot the damn rock. Here's the best three-point shooter in the world, or one of them. I don't know, wherever you want to rank them. One of them. What? One of them. And Simmons, he 1 for 17. Simmons is like, nah, I don't want to shoot it. I stink. Yo, bro, 1 for 17. Even the good ones do it. I'm telling you right now, you'd be better than 1 for 17 if you shot the damn ball. But back to the original point. Embiid and Simmons. Simmons is a point guard who doesn't like to shoot, only shoots near the rim, underneath, as we saw, 12 of 14, all within 6 feet. No problem there. Okay. Joel Embiid, big man, loves to float around the three-point line, shoot those jump shots. In the playoffs last year against the Toronto Raptors, lived around the outside because Gasol was pissing him off every time they'd be underneath. So, basically, we got a point guard who likes to play like a center, and a center who likes to play like a shooting guard. And yet when they're on the floor at the same time, we say, no. You stay down there and do what you don't really like to do. You stay down there or you stay out here and do what you don't really like to do and figure it out. And you'll wonder why it's not working, everybody. Seriously, it's that simple. Basically, we got a guard who can't shoot and a big who likes to shoot. We got a guard who would rather be down low and a down low guy who would rather be outside. And that's why when they're their own entity on the court, they can do both. Ben Simmons can get to the rim, and there's not a lot of congestion down there, not a lot of bodies, because Joel Embiid isn't down there with the other center, with 2 7-footers. Now they're going, smaller, quote-unquote. Simmons is the 4-5, so his guy's down there, and that's when he's just physically so gosh darn gifted that he can dominate these matchups. And specifically looking at yesterday's game, kind of in a nutshell, big picture is 4 straight wins, 2 straight on the road. Yes, the Knicks and Nets obviously works out for Ben because, like I just said, they were in New York kicking it with Kendall, so he's pumped that they got the Knicks up there. Now they're leaving, so now he'll probably suck again because he wasn't hanging out with her. Now that they're traveling up to Toronto, I don't think she's going to make it to Toronto. But back at it here. Ben Simmons yesterday was utilized a lot of times as the screener, not the one who's getting screened for. So not the ball handler using the screen, but the gentleman placing the screen who is then able to roll, pop, kick, a lot of one-on-ones. And a lot of times him as the screener, when he was rolling to the hoop or able to, pop out, kind of get that mismatch, that's when he was successful. And it was very interesting to kind of see this dynamic because a lot of times, again, they use him as a point forward. So the ball is in his hands, meaning he can't set the screen. He's got the damn ball. Makes sense. So now you take the ball out of his hands and you give it to another kind of shooting guard, point guard, because we don't really have another guard that's a true ball handler. I mean, Nato, Burke, Richardson, Furkan, Korkmaz, if you're, any of these other guards aren't true point guards. So we really don't have a distributor, which is something that I think they may need to look to add under the radar. They tried with Nato. He's okay. He's not the answer. Burke is definitely more of a scorer shooter, kind of a spark plug, not a true ball handler. But if they go to that small ball lineup with Ben Simmons setting and maintaining screens as the 4-5, there's a lot of availability there. So basically you go Simmons is the big guy and you spread everybody else out as shooters. You go Mike Scott, Korkmaz, Richardson, Tobias Harris, and Ben Simmons potentially. Maybe get Al Horford off because Al Horford's kind of doing the same thing Simmons is they're trying to get him to do. But obviously Simmons, younger, more athletic. Horford's still phenomenal basketball player just based on experience, fundamentals, all of the above. Simmons is just way more truly gifted. So the options and availability that come based on him giving the screen, rolling, and diving, kicking, everything like that, and you surround him with shooters, you get a high ball screen to roll to the hoop. You get him either going up because he's got an advantage, or if he doesn't, somebody helps. Bam, there's the kick. There's your 3-point shot. And it's almost sometimes elementary to the point where, like Brett Brown and a lot of professional sports, they they outthink themselves sometimes. They make it harder than it needs to be. And case in point is like the Seahawks on the 1 yard line passing the damn ball every time. Or the Eagles, I think it was 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. I can't remember the damn game. Maybe it was Seattle, but neither time ran like a quarterback sneak. It's like you got a 6'5", 240-pound quarterback. You need a foot. Like, what are we doing here? Spread option? Come on. Like, stop it. Just go back to 6th grade, snap the ball, go forward for a foot. Basketball. Okay, who are our best shooters? Who's our big guy? Who's our best ball handler? You set screens for these guys, roll to the hoop, try to kick it, get a shot. And just, sometimes it's like, hey, you try to get all this talent, you try to make it work to try to keep guys happy, and you just have to break things down to the nuts and bolts, man. Get back to the elementary fundamentals of, hey, we're facing a zone, overload. What was it? 2 weeks ago, they had a ton of problems with the zone defense with Miami and then Washington, I think it was. And it's just, I remember practicing that in the 7th grade. Okay, 2-3, put 3 guys right here, here, and here, work the ball around. Maybe set a screen. Doesn't work, swing it the other way. This guy runs the baseline. Now you got an overload on this side. Bang, bang, bang. Motion offense, screen, move, screen. It's just a lot of it. Again, it gets down to the half-court execution style. And with Simmons with the ball in his hand, can't do it come playoff time. So if you need to alternate Embiid, Simmons, not 100% of the time, but if you need to spell minutes, hey, maybe go 5 here, pull him after 4, flip them again so they have individual times when they're on their, they're out there on their own. I think that's when the Sixers are going to be most successful. Just watching Simmons, watching his attitude, watching his effort over the past week, 2 weeks, Eastern Conference Player of the Week we've seen, it really just stands out how different it is when Joe's not on the floor. And that mindset is something that I don't think needs to change when Joel comes back. I think it's something that Ben changes on his own to try to help the team. I think he overthinks it once again, saying, okay, I know Joel is like the mayor of the city. You guys, I'm number 2, he's number 1. And fansmanship, Twittersphere, all of the above. Call it 1A, 1B if you want, not a 1-2. But basically saying that Joel is the superstar. He's the all-star. He's the one everybody knows, scores 30 a game. He's got all the commercials, this, that, and the third. And Ben kind of plays Robin to Joel's Batman a little bit, kind of plays second fiddle. And I think he needs to understand that it's okay for him to still be a little bit of an a-hole, a little bit of a pain in the butt, man, when Joel's in there. Just saying, hey, Joe, sit over there this possession. This one's going between me and him over here. Just continuing to be aggressive and have that mindset, because we were arguing in weeks past how in the 4th quarter Simmons was disappearing. He was having 20 points before halftime and only 2 afterwards. And a lot of instances like that were taking place. And, when Joel's gone down, it's clear that, hey, you're one of the scoring options late in games. We're no longer going Joel, Tobias, Richardson, and then you. And you're now playing kind of distributor. I need him to remain aggressive, get to the foul line. That was the other big one. 10 of 14 from the foul line. That's fantastic. The guy shoots like 60%. So 10 of 14, awesome completion percentage or, made percentage, getting there 14 times on his own right. He should be there at least 10 times a game. The guy's 7 feet tall, doesn't shoot anything but layups and close jumpers. If you're not drawing contact and getting to the free throw line, you're doing yourself a disservice, because those are easy money, easy points, quality possessions for the entire team. So overall, Ben Simmons, fantastic job this past month. If and when Joel, not if, but, when, I guess if, he's missed 2 years, so you can never not say if, but when Joel comes back, don't change it, man. Don't change the mindset. Continue to try to be the Eastern Conference Player of the Week. Be the stud. Be the guy, dude. You're allowed to be the horse. Joel will figure it out, man. He'll fit in. He just wants to win. You just want to win. Get it done. Make it happen. Give me this energy. Give me this attitude every game, because I hate this going through the motions stuff. I hate this flick the switch come playoff time crap. Get your body in gear. Get ready to go. We're moving towards February. The playoffs start in 6-8 weeks. Let's start to get it moving. Let's start to get things revving here a little bit. But big picture overall, Philadelphia 76ers. Big week this week at Toronto versus the Lakers. Big games here. Clearly, you hate to say benchmark games in the middle of January, especially when you're missing some guys like Joel. But obviously, fantastic programs, fantastic basketball teams. Toronto, NBA champs, duh, in Toronto, have trouble winning there. Couldn't do it in the playoffs. Did it once, no, 4 times. Can't really do it in the regular season. They continue to be strong. Then you're going to come back home and face the Lakers. LeBron James, Anthony Davis, all of the above. The number 1 seed in the West, number 2, depending on which day you're looking at it. All of the above. It's going to be 2 great tests. And for Ben without Joe, it's going to be a phenomenal opportunity to just continue to keep you in the limelight, continue to keep you front and center, and continue to keep you relevant. So Kendall Jenner will continue to date you because she doesn't date nobodies. So if you're going to keep sucking, she's going to leave. So she probably told him in New Year's, Ben, can you do something so we're allowed to go public again so they're not saying I'm just dating some scrub? I mean, I'm $1 billion babe here. You better figure it out. And he's like, all right, I got you. We'll put it together. We'll be like Eastern Conference Player of the Week, and then we'll tell people that's what we'll do. So, all right, cool, I got you. But seriously, his LSU Tigers win the national title. Maybe that's got something to do with it. I don't know. Pulling stuff out here. That's what I'm thinking. But, yeah, Sixers, Lakers, they're coming up. And those 2 teams, again, kind of final point here before we shut it down. Those are the 2 teams kind of most connected to the Derrick Rose trade scenarios and the sweepstakes involved. D. Rose currently with the Pistons having a hell of a year there. Not quite MVP level, but probably very and as close as he's been since that MVP campaign. Really where he's at there. Very, very strong. And like I touched on, he's a ball handler. He's exactly what I just said I think they should look for. So, hell, I didn't even put 2 and 2 together there. I said, hey, they need that. That's exactly what they're looking at. Look at that stuff, man. I am just bringing quality content to everybody out there. It's fantastic. But Derrick Rose, need him on the Sixers. Need it. Because if you're giving up Zaire Smith, Jonah Bolden, a 1 or a 2, they've said Bolden, Smith, and a 2. Yo, I'd sign that with my eyes closed. I don't even know where I'm signing. Like, yo, let's go. Text, okay, thumbs up, whatever emoji you want to use. Get that done. Because Derrick also has another year on his contract. He signed a 2-year, $15 million deal, I believe it is, off the top of my head. Very cost efficient for what you're getting from him now. Past performance, maybe not the tops, but what you're getting this year from D. Rose, very, very cost effective, very cost efficient moving forward, and certainly an option to keep an eye on as we continue to tread here towards the trade deadline for the Sixers. But overall, Embiid will get him healthy. Harris, Richardson, Horford continue to be solid on nights, off nights. Ben Simmons really stepped up. Furkan Korkmaz shooting the ball better again. He had a career-high 20 the other night. Struggled last night yesterday. Struggled yesterday afternoon, but starting to put it together again as we creep up here into the month of February and March with the All-Star game. Not too far away. Not as close as hockey, but not too far away there. But that'll wrap up today's edition of Too Close to Call Sports here on Usula Media and Usula Radio. For everybody watching on YouTube, I appreciate you guys watching. Please share the link. Scroll down, hit the little, it looks like, an arrow going out. You know what it looks like. Hit that. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Let the people know you were thoroughly entertained for the last hour. If you're hearing it on the website, appreciate you guys listening live. Do me a favor. You can catch it on demand at any time through iTunes. Too Close to Call Sports. We'll post it there probably tomorrow. Yesterday's is already posted today, so you can stay up to date with everything going on in the sports world here as we move forward. It is Tuesday. We're transitioning into Saturday, Sunday. Look for more shows this weekend. We'll be talking Super Bowl, prop bets, all the good stuff all around the country. Like I said at the top of the show, got the press pass officially printed out here to be using for you guys to head to the event, start writing, check Usula Media, the website for articles moving forward, interact like we did in the second segment here. We can certainly, get you guys some airtime read on the show here. But that'll wrap it up for today's edition. Too Close to Call Sports, Usula Media, Usula Radio. I'm your host, Kevin Mahalik. As always, I appreciate you guys listening, everything you do for us out there. We'll talk to you guys here in just a couple of days, and we'll see you live next week, next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Thanks for listening out there. Peace.